Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 4 of Tango Talk. In this lesson, we're going to be going over the regular present. Now, firstly, you might want to know what I mean by regular present. In Spanish and in most languages, we have regular and irregular verbs. Regular verbs follow a pattern. All of the verbs that are regular are conjugated the exact same way. Now, in Spanish, verbs are split into 3 categories. Today, we're only going to be going over the first conjugation, also known as the AR conjugation or termination. Let's go over what the infinitive means. Here on the left, we have a bunch of English verbs in the infinitive form. To laugh, to talk, to cook, to walk, to jump. The infinitive form is given by the to preposition. That's what tells me that the verb is an infinitive. In Spanish, we don't have an additional word for the infinitive, we just look at the termination. Let's take a look at the right. Amar, hablar, cocinar, caminar, saltar. Ar. That's the infinitive termination. Now, the infinitive essentially is just like the naked version of the verb, the most basic ones. In both Spanish and English, you add modifications to the infinitive in order to talk about the present, the past, the future, to form conditional structures, and much more. How does all of this grammar translate into talking Spanish? Well, all of that explanation about the infinitive might come in handy in order to learn the present. Here we have a verb in the infinitive, amar, which means to love. In order to conjugate the present, we must remove the termination from the infinitive from the stem. As you can see here, AR is the termination and AM is the stem. The termination is always the same for all of the verbs. The thing that changes, the thing that has meaning, is the stem. Now, we just take the stem and we add the present terminations. What are the present terminations? Those things right there. O, as, a, amos, an. So we just take the stem that we subtracted from the infinitive and we just plug it in there. Just like that, we get amo, amas, ama, amamos, aman, aman. Now, we don't write the verbs with a dash, that's just an illustration. Here's the finished product. Let's just go over this table. Yo amo. That means I love. Tú amas. You love. Él o ella ama. He or she loves. Nosotros amamos. We love. Ustedes aman. You guys love. Ellos o ellas aman. They love. Alright, let's take a look at the English version. Notice how it's always love, except when we talk about the third person where we add an S and we say loves. Well, we just gotta expand that concept to all of the conjugations. How do you learn this? You're just gonna have to memorize it, unfortunately. However, I promise you, it's not as hard as it looks. Let's take a look at another example. Here we have the verb hablar, which can either mean to talk or to speak, depending on the context. Same thing as before. We have the AR termination. We just want to subtract that from the verb and we're going to be left with the stem. Then we just add the same present terminations to the verb. And here we have it with the dashes. And then we just remove the dashes and we're left with the final verb. It's the exact same process. The only thing that changes is the stem. Yo hablo. I talk. Tú hablas. You talk. Él o ella habla. He or she talks. Nosotros hablamos. We talk. Ustedes hablan. You guys or you all talk. Ellos o ellas hablan. They talk. Now finally we have the verb cocinar, which means to cook. I'm just gonna show you the full conjugation, but the same process that we did for the previous two verbs applies to this one. Yo cocino. I cook. Tú cocinas. You cook. Él o ella cocina. He or she cooks. Nosotros cocinamos. We cook. Ustedes cocinan. You guys cook. Ellos o ellas cocinan. They cook. Now we'll just go over some regular verbs that you can conjugate after what you learned today. Let's just go over their meaning and their pronunciation in Spanish. Amar, to love. Hablar, to speak or to talk. Cocinar, to cook. Cantar, to sing. Bailar, to dance. Caminar, to walk. Escuchar, to listen. Trabajar, to work. Viajar, to travel. Comprar, to buy. Now I'm going to explain when we use the present tense. It's essentially used in the exact same way as in English. Firstly, we use to talk about permanent conditions or facts. We can also use it to talk about routinary actions and to talk about the future. However, when we use it to talk about the future, it must be shown by a time reference. A time reference being tomorrow, next year, the following month, etc. To start wrapping things up, we're just gonna go over some sentences that use the verbs that we just learned. Él habla mucho. He speaks a lot. Nosotros cocinamos todos los días. We cook every day. Ustedes cantan y bailan. You guys sing and dance. Tú trabajas todas las mañanas. You work every morning. Ellas no escuchan música. They don't listen to music. Mañana yo camino en el parque. Tomorrow I will walk in the park. El año que viene viajo a Argentina. Next year I will travel to Argentina. Él es Manuel. He is Manuel. Yo te amo. I love you. This is the last slide. We're just going to be going over how to do the homework. But basically, we're going to be given a verb in the infinitive form. That means that it's going to have the AR termination. You must look at the pronoun or noun that precedes it and use the proper conjugation. And as always, we will be correcting the exercises on the next video. Let's take a look at an example. We're going to be given a sentence like this one. Ella cocinar arroz. That cocinar, that verb, is an infinitive form. We must conjugate it according to the pronoun, in this case, ella. So the correct answer in this case is gonna be ella cocina arroz. That's the proper conjugation. It's quite simple. That's it for today's lesson. Make sure you download the exercises, do your homework, come back to the next video so that we can correct them. Thank you for coming to this lesson. Hope to see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment with some feedback. This is Tango Talk.